perfectly performed. Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins for Hannibal Lecter, perfectly performed. There's no one else that could do it better than as a serial killer, let alone a cannibalistic serial killer than Anthony Hopkins. He plays this role to perfection. Of course, he won the award for it, the best award you can win, an Oscar Academy Award for his portrayal of Mr. Lecter. This is a made-up serial killer, but you would think it was a real one because Mr. Hopkins does it so well and portrays this person as a real person. He comes to life on screen. Hannibal Lecter, perfectly performed. Tom Cruise, David Ames for Vanilla Sky here, 2001. Yeah, because this is one of my favorite films, let alone performances by Cruise. This is my favorite underrated performance by Mr. Cruise. He should have won an Oscar for this. David Ames is all over the place in Vanilla Sky, personality-wise, emotional-wise, physical-wise, appearance-wise. There's so much areas to cover for Mr. Cruise as David Ames. It's really a hard role to take on, but he perfectly performs it, and I think he deserves a lot more credit and not more talked about because of this performance. This is something that introduced me Mr. Cruise and his performing chops, and I'm telling you, he's got it all over the place. He's perfect. Russell Crowe, Maximus, Gladiator, 2000. Yeah, we're going with Miss Maximus. How could you forget the name, let alone Russell Crowe as Maximus? You would think this is a real gladiator, etched in stone in time, found out in Rome, and read aloud today in history books. Maximus is not, though. This is something made up, of course, and Russell Crowe does such a great job of portraying Mr. Maximus. You would think this is him, this is real when you see him on the street. That's how good this perfectly performed performance is. I love it. I can't get enough of it. Natalie Portman, Matilda, Leon the Professional, 1994. I'm going with Natalie Portman. I have to mention her in this list of perfectly performed. I remember seeing her on, back in the 90s, of course, on VHS, and seeing her in this role really surprised me, impressed me, and shocked me that a girl of her age, or a person of her age, period, would pull off this role. And she did it so good, believable. I thought she was Matilda. This was so hugely, greatly done. She deserved a lot of credit for this, for this role. She deserved a lot of this for this role. Great performance by Natalie Portman, perfectly performed. Al Pacino, Tony Montana, Scarface, 1983. Have to mention Al Pacino if you're going to mention perfectly performed performances. This is Mr. Pacino's, highly echelon, greatest pinnacle of his career, for me, performance. I love him in this role. He pulls it off. I believe it, even when he's not really like that. He's such a great actor. He becomes that, and it becomes on screen what you see. And you believe Tony Montana was a real person in history thanks to Mr. Al Pacino and his performance here. Perfect in every corner and turn, and the accent, and the emotions, and the hands, and the way he has guts and balls like Tony Montana. That's Scarface for you. Perfectly performed. Al Pacino. Perfectly performed.